I stared at the wedding invitation in disbelief, my hands shaking, as I read the names printed in elegant gold lettering: Jason Anderson and Amanda Wells. My best friend and my girlfriend of 2 years were getting married. The pain of their betrayal had barely begun to heal, but seeing my family gathering excitedly to discuss their wedding plans reopened every wound. They had chosen Jason over me, their own flesh and blood, when he forced them to pick sides. As I share how my own brother and girlfriend betrayed me, drop a comment telling me where you are watching from. If you have ever felt the sting of betrayal from those closest to you, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you will want to hear how I finally took back my life. My name is Chris Martin, a 28-year-old architect with a passion for sustainable design and a belief that honesty is always the best policy. I had always put family first, something my parents had instilled in me from childhood. Our home in suburban Chicago had been warm and welcoming, the kind of place where friends would gather and often stay for dinner without invitation. That was how Jason became part of our lives. He was not my biological brother, but the bond we shared ran deeper than mere friendship. We met in 6th grade when he transferred to my school mid-year. The quiet new kid with worn clothes and a permanent furrow between his brows, Jason stood out for all the wrong reasons. When a group of boys cornered him after school, I stepped in without hesitation. That intervention led to a bloody nose for me and the beginning of an unbreakable friendship, or so I thought at the time. Jason had a troubled home life. His father left when he was 8, and his mother worked multiple jobs to keep them afloat. She was rarely home, and when she was her new boyfriend's, often made Jason feel unwelcome. My parents noticed his situation, and our house became his second home. He would stay for dinners, weekends, sometimes weeks, when things were particularly bad at his place. By high school, my parents were attending his football games and helping him with college applications. They paid for his SAT prep courses and drove him to campus visits. When he got accepted to the same university as me, they celebrated as proudly as they had for me. They helped with his tuition when his scholarships fell short. Jason was treated like another son, loved unconditionally by my family. We remained close through college and into our early careers. I joined a progressive architecture firm downtown, while Jason pursued finance, landing a job at an investment company. Our adult lives were busy, but we made time for weekly hangouts, usually at my condo or at my parents' house for Sunday dinners. It was at my firm that I met Amanda Wells. She walked into the office one morning as a new interior designer, and I was immediately captivated. With her auburn hair, infectious laugh, and brilliant mind for spatial design, Amanda quickly became the highlight of my workdays. She had this habit of tucking her hair behind her ear when concentrating, and her passion for sustainable materials matched my own architectural philosophy. For 3 weeks, I gathered my courage before asking her to coffee. That coffee turned into dinner into weekend hikes, and before I knew it, we had been dating for 2 years. Amanda fit seamlessly into my life. She charmed my parents at family dinners, debated playfully with my sister Natalie about art history, and even formed a friendly relationship with Jason, who she met at one of our barbecues. Amanda and I talked about the future. We discussed marriage, children, even the style of home we would design together someday. I started saving for an engagement ring, researching ethical diamond sources that would align with her values. The plan was to propose on our upcoming trip to Portland, where we were attending a green architecture conference. Around this time, Jason began stopping by my place more frequently. He claimed his apartment was being renovated, and the noise was unbearable. He would bring takeout or sometimes groceries to cook elaborate meals. Amanda often joined us, and the three of us would spend evenings laughing over board games or debating current events. I never suspected anything blind to the increasing glances between them, or how their conversations would continue long after I fell asleep on the couch, exhausted from long days at work. My firm had taken on a major project, an eco-friendly community center that could put us on the map nationally if executed well. As project lead, my hours became increasingly demanding. Nights and weekends blurred together as I poured myself into the designs. Amanda said she understood, encouraging me to pursue this opportunity. She would stop by the office with coffee or drop off dinner when I worked late. Gradually, though, things began to change. Amanda canceled plans more frequently. Our daily texts dwindled to sporadic check-ins. When we were together, she seemed distracted, constantly checking her phone. I attributed it to work stress, as she had taken on new clients herself. When I asked if everything was okay, she would smile and assure me we were fine, just busy with our careers. Jason, too, began acting differently. He would ask detailed questions about my work schedule, supposedly to plan guys' nights that increasingly never materialized. He mentioned Amanda in conversation more often, commenting on her talent or sense of humor in ways that felt excessive but not quite suspicious. One night, after Amanda canceled our dinner plans, claiming a client emergency, I called her office to leave a message about when I would be home in case she wanted to stop by. Her assistant casually mentioned that Amanda had left early that day, around 3 in the afternoon. A seed of worry planted itself in my mind, but I quickly dismissed it. Amanda was not the type to lie, and there must have been a simple explanation. But as the weeks passed, the unexplained absences, canceled plans, and distant behavior continued. Something felt off, but I could not quite place what it was. The thought that would eventually change everything had not yet formed clearly in my mind, but an uneasy feeling had taken root. The revelation came on a Thursday in April. My project team had finished our preliminary designs ahead of schedule, and I decided to surprise Amanda by coming home early. I stopped to pick up ingredients for her favorite pasta dish, planning a romantic evening to reconnect after our busy weeks. As I drove toward my condo, I passed the Lighthouse, an upscale restaurant we had visited only on special occasions due to its steep prices. Through the large windows, I caught a glimpse of familiar auburn hair. Amanda was seated at a corner table wearing a blue dress I had never seen before. Her head was thrown back in laughter, her hand resting on the arm of her companion. It took me a moment to recognize Jason, dressed more formally than his usual casual style, leaning in close to her. I circled the block twice, telling myself they were probably discussing a surprise for me. Perhaps my birthday, though, it was months away. Maybe they were planning something for the anniversary. Amanda and I had celebrated just 2 weeks ago, with a quiet dinner at home. But the intimacy of their posture, the way she touched his face, told a different story. I parked across the street and waited. An hour later, they emerged from the restaurant, his hand on the small of her back in a gesture that felt possessive and familiar. They did not head toward my condo or his apartment, but to hers. I followed at a distance, watching as they walked closely together, stopping once to kiss under a streetlight. The pain that ripped through me was physical. I sat in my car outside her building for hours, unable to move, unable to process what I had witnessed. Questions cycled through my mind. How long had this been happening? Had they been laughing at me behind my back? Was everything between Amanda and me a lie? Sleep evaded me that night. By morning, grief had hardened into resolve. I would confront them both, but separately. I went to work as usual, knowing Amanda would be in the office. Around 11, I asked her to meet me in the small conference room away from curious eyes and ears. She entered with a smile that faltered when she saw my expression. I did not waste time with pleasantries. "I saw you with Jason last night," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. "At the Lighthouse. And I saw you go back to your place together." Her face drained of color. She opened her mouth, closed it, then looked down at her hands. "Chris, I am so sorry. We never meant for this to happen." "How long?" I asked. 3 months, she admitted. "It started when you were buried in the community center project. We spent time together waiting for you to finish work. One night we just connected." Connected, I repeated the word, bitter on my tongue, while I was working 60-hour weeks to build a future for us. "I know how it sounds," Amanda said, tears forming in her eyes. "But neither of us planned this. Jason and I tried to fight it, but the feelings kept growing. He understands me in ways that you and I never quite managed. The connection is just different." "Did you ever love me at all?" I asked, hating the vulnerability in my voice. "Of course I did," she insisted. "But with Jason, it is just stronger, more certain. I am truly sorry for hurting you, Chris. We wanted to tell you properly, but could not find the right time." I left the office after that conversation, unable to focus on work. My next stop was Jason's apartment. He opened the door looking unsurprised, as if he had been expecting me. Perhaps Amanda had warned him. "How could you?" I demanded, pushing past him into the apartment I had helped him furnish. "You were like my brother. My family treated you like a son." "I never wanted to hurt you," Jason said, maintaining distance between us. "It just happened, man. We fell in love." "Fell in love," I scoffed. "Behind my back while I was working to build a life with her. Was that your plan all along? To take what was mine?" Jason had the audacity to look offended. "Amanda is not a possession, Chris. And honestly, you were never fully there for her. Always working, always putting your career first. She needed someone who would put her first." And that is you. The guy who spent his whole life taking from my family. Now you are taking my girlfriend too. Your family loves me because I appreciate them." Jason shot back. "When was the last time you really talked to your mom about her art classes, or helped your dad with his garden? You have been so wrapped up in your perfect life plan that you have neglected everyone around you, including Amanda." Our argument escalated, old resentments bubbling to the surface. Words were said that could never be taken back. I accused him of manipulation and opportunism. He called me entitled and oblivious. When he suggested that Amanda had been unhappy for months, before turning to him, something in me snapped. The fight became physical, ending only when I caught my reflection in his hallway mirror, my face contorted in rage, and realized I did not recognize myself. I left his apartment with a bruised hand and wounded pride. The worst was yet to come. My family reacted to the news with less outrage than I had expected. My mother suggested that these things happen, and that perhaps it was for the best if Amanda and I were not truly meant to be. My father awkwardly patted my shoulder and offered platitudes about other fish in the sea. Only my sister Natalie seemed genuinely angry on my behalf. "It is completely messed up," she said during a private conversation in my old bedroom. "Jason is a snake. Always has been, if you ask me. The way he wormed his way into our family, making everyone feel sorry for him." But Natalie was 22 and still financially dependent on our parents. Her support remained behind closed doors. The most painful aspect was how little changed in Jason's relationship with my family. He still attended Sunday dinners, now bringing Amanda along. My parents welcomed them warmly while I made excuses to be elsewhere. Jason continued helping my father with home repairs and attending my mother book club gatherings as her special guest. It was as if my pain was an inconvenient detail in their ongoing relationship with the son they had chosen. 4 months after I discovered their betrayal, Jason and Amanda announced their engagement at my parents' house during a dinner I had deliberately skipped. My mother called immediately after, her voice brimming with excitement as she described the surprise proposal in our backyard garden, the same garden where I had played as a child. "They want a short engagement," she informed me. "A fall wedding would be lovely, do not you think? The colors would be beautiful for photos." I hung up without responding, sick to my stomach, at the thought of my family celebrating this union built on betrayal. The wedding invitation arrived 6 weeks later, an expensive cream envelope with gold trim. My hands trembled as I opened it, though I had been expecting its arrival. The date was set for October 15th at Lakeside Gardens, an exclusive venue with a 6-month waiting list that Jason could never have booked without connections. I later learned my father had called in a favor from a golfing buddy on the venue board. That evening I arrived at my parents' house for our weekly family dinner, invitation in hand. I had been avoiding these gatherings, but felt this conversation needed to happen in person. My mother was stirring something on the stove, my father setting the table, and Natalie texting on the couch. The scene of domestic normality made what I was about to do even harder. "I need to talk to all of you about this," I said, placing the invitation on the kitchen island. "I cannot believe you would expect me to attend this wedding." My mother sighed, wiping her hands on a dish towel. "Chris, sweetie, we know it is awkward, but families go through difficult transitions all the time." "Awkward," I repeated. "Mom, my best friend stole my girlfriend. They went behind my back for months. And now you are all acting like this is something to celebrate." My father joined the conversation, his tone measured as always. "Son, Jason has been part of this family for 15 years. We cannot just cut him out because things did not work out between you and Amanda. Things did not work out." I was nearly shouting now. "That is how you see what happened. They betrayed me, both of them. And instead of supporting your actual son, you are throwing them an engagement party next week." "Lower your voice," my father warned. "We raised you better than this. Sometimes in life people fall in love unexpectedly. It does not mean anyone intended to hurt you. I am asking you as your son not to attend this wedding," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "If you love and respect me at all, you will decline the invitation." My mother looked distressed. "We cannot do that, Chris. Jason is like a son to us too. I am your real son." The words burst out of me raw and painful. "Does that count for nothing?" Natalie finally spoke up. "Chris is right. What Jason and Amanda did was wrong. We should stand by Chris." My father turned to her. "Stay out of this, Natalie. You do not understand the complexities of adult relationships yet." "I understand loyalty," she muttered, but did not push further. The argument continued in circles. My parents insisted they could love and support both Jason and me without taking sides. I maintained that attending the wedding was in fact taking a side. Their refusal to acknowledge the depth of my pain felt like a second betrayal. As tensions escalated, the doorbell rang. My mother answered it to find Jason standing there, Amanda waiting in the car. He had impeccable timing as always. "Sorry to interrupt," he said, though his expression suggested he was anything but sorry. "I just wanted to drop off the sample centerpieces for your approval, Margaret." My mother welcomed him in despite the obvious tension. Jason nodded at me coolly before turning to my parents with a serious expression. "Actually, since Chris is here, maybe we should clear the air about the wedding. Amanda and I want everyone to be comfortable. There is nothing to discuss," I said. "I will not be attending, and I have asked my family to do the same out of respect for me." Jason nodded as if he had expected this. "I understand your feelings, Chris, but I need to be honest with everyone here. Amanda and I have built our lives around this family. They have been my true family when my own failed me. If they choose not to attend our wedding because of your ultimatum, then we will have to reconsider our relationship with the entire Martin family going forward." My jaw dropped at the manipulation. "Are you seriously threatening to cut my parents off if they do not come to your wedding?" "Not threatening," Jason clarified smoothly. "Just being honest about where we stand. Margaret and Robert have been like parents to me. But if they cannot support the most important day of our lives, because you cannot move past your hurt feelings, then perhaps it is healthier for everyone if we create some distance." The room fell silent. I looked at my parents, waiting for them to recognize the manipulation to stand up for me. Instead, my mother began to cry softly. "No one needs to make any hasty decisions," my father said, placing an arm around my mother. "This family does not do ultimatums." "Apparently it does," I replied bitterly, "just not when I am the one asking for support." The following week was filled with tense phone calls and tearful conversations. My mother begged me to understand their position. My father appealed to my sense of maturity. Natalie texted her support privately, but admitted she would attend the wedding to avoid being cut off financially. In the end, my family made their choice. My mother called on a Sunday evening, her voice solemn. "We have thought long and hard about this, Chris. We love you more than you could possibly know. But Jason has been part of our lives for so long, and cutting him off would mean losing Amanda too. We have decided to attend the wedding. We hope that with time you will understand and forgive us, maybe even find a way to forgive Jason and Amanda too." The pain of their decision was overwhelming. That night I packed several bags and moved temporarily into a hotel. I ignored their calls and texts, changing my Sunday dinner routine to evening runs along the lakefront. I hired a realtor and found a new condo across town. I told my boss I needed to work remotely for a few weeks, citing family issues. In effect, I disappeared from my family life entirely. The wedding took place in October as planned. I saw the photos on social media, my parents beaming beside the happy couple, my sister in a bridesmaid dress, everyone seemingly having forgotten my existence. In one particularly painful image, Jason stood between my parents, his arms around them, both captioned, "With my true family." The holidays approached, and with them came increased attempts at contact from my family. I maintained my distance, spending Thanksgiving with a colleague and his wife, rather than face the empty chair at my parents' table, or worse, seeing it filled by Jason. By Christmas, depression had settled over me like a heavy blanket. I declined all invitations, spent the day alone in my new apartment, and turned off my phone to avoid the inevitable calls. My work, once my passion, became merely a way to fill hours. I stopped designing for pleasure, abandoned the small sketches that had once brought me joy, and withdrew from friends who tried to check in. My life might have continued in this downward spiral if not for a chance professional encounter 6 months after the wedding. My firm had taken on a new client, a technology company, looking to build a headquarters with a minimal environmental footprint. As project lead, I was scheduled to meet with their sustainability director, Nicole Reyes. I expected a routine, initial consultation. What I got instead was a wake-up call. Nicole entered the conference room with purposeful energy, her dark curly hair pulled back, her handshake firm. She did not waste time with small talk, diving straight into her vision for the project. Her passion was evident, but so was her no-nonsense approach. "Your preliminary designs are good," she said, spreading the documents on the table. "But they are safe, expected. I came to your firm because your personal portfolio showed innovation. This," she tapped the paper, "looks like you are going through the motions." Her assessment stung because it was accurate. I had been going through the motions in my work and in my life. I apologize, I said stiffly. I can revise the approach. Nicole studied me for a moment. Something is holding you back. I do not need to know what it is, but I need to know if you can deliver the exceptional work I know you are capable of. My company will not settle for adequate. Her directness was refreshing after months of walking on eggshells around colleagues who had heard rumors of my personal drama. We ended up talking for 3 hours, the conversation evolving from professional requirements to design philosophy, then gradually to more personal topics. Over coffee in the office kitchen, Nicole mentioned offhandedly that she understood complicated family dynamics. My sister married my ex-boyfriend 2 years ago, she said without self-pity. Classic telenovela stuff. I found myself sharing parts of my story. Nicole listened without the usual platitudes or awkward sympathy. Instead, she offered perspective. The way I see it, you have 2 choices, she said. Let this define you and keep living half a life, or use it as a catalyst to build something better. They took your girlfriend and your family dynamic. Do not let them take your future too. Something in her words cut through the fog I had been living in. We began meeting regularly, initially to discuss the project, but eventually just to talk. Nicole had rebuilt her life after her own betrayal, creating boundaries with family, while still maintaining relationships on her own terms. With her encouragement, I threw myself back into my work with renewed passion. The headquarters design became a personal mission, incorporating innovative sustainability features that earned industry attention. My boss noticed the change, assigning me additional high-profile projects, and eventually promoting me to senior architect with a substantial raise. Through Nicole, I met new friends outside my usual circle, people who knew me only as I was now, not as the guy whose girlfriend left him for his brother. I joined a recreational soccer league, rediscovered my love for landscape sketching, and gradually began to feel like myself again, or perhaps a stronger version of myself. One Saturday morning, 8 months after the wedding, I ran into my sister Natalie at a farmer's market. Her expression upon seeing me was a mixture of surprise, happiness, and guilt. We stood awkwardly among stands of organic vegetables before she worked up the courage to speak. "I've been trying to call you," she said. "I miss you, Chris." We found a bench nearby, and for the first time Natalie spoke freely about what had been happening in the family since I had cut contact. Things with Jason and Amanda were not the fairy tale everyone had pretended they would be. Jason had been pressuring our parents for money, claiming business investment opportunities that never seemed to materialize. Amanda had grown increasingly uncomfortable with his financial dependence on my parents. "Mom and Dad are too embarrassed to admit they might have been wrong," Natalie confessed. "But they miss you terribly. Dad keeps your architecture magazines even though he claims he is just interested in the industry. Mom drives by your office building, sometimes hoping to run into you. Why did you not stand up for me?" I finally asked the question that had been haunting me. Tears filled her eyes. "I was scared of losing my tuition, my place to live. It was selfish, and I hate myself for it. If I could go back and change it, I would choose you, Chris. Every time." Her honesty broke something open in me. We talked for hours that day, rebuilding the bridge between us. Through Natalie, I cautiously agreed to meet my parents for dinner at a neutral restaurant. The reunion was tearful and tense at first. My mother looked older, my father more subdued than I remembered. "We made a terrible mistake," my mother said, reaching for my hand across the table. "We thought we could maintain both relationships without choosing sides. We did not see that by refusing to choose, we were actually choosing Jason." My father, never good with emotional conversations, simply said, "We failed you, son. There is no excuse for that." Their apology was genuine, but rebuilding trust would take time. I made my boundaries clear. I was willing to work on our relationship, but I would not attend events where Jason and Amanda were present. I would not pretend to forgive and forget for the sake of family harmony. "Your relationship with them is your choice," I explained. "But my choice is to keep them out of my life. You need to respect that without trying to force reconciliation." To my surprise, they agreed. We began with small steps, occasional dinners, phone calls, eventually Sunday brunches to replace the traditional dinner that Jason and Amanda still attended. My parents learned to maintain separate relationships, never mentioning one to the other. It was imperfect but workable. A year after the wedding, my life had transformed dramatically. I had just completed a high-profile sustainable housing development. My name featured prominently in architectural publications. Nicole and I had moved beyond friendship to a relationship built on mutual respect and authentic connection. I had created a chosen family of friends, and rebuilt selective bridges with my biological family. It was around this time that cracks in Jason and Amanda facade began to show publicly. Through Natalie, I learned that Jason had been caught cheating with a coworker. Amanda had discovered text messages and confronted him at a family dinner, causing a scene that ended with her leaving in tears, and Jason drunkenly breaking one of my mother's favorite vases. 2 weeks after this incident, Amanda contacted me through email. Her message was lengthy, full of apologies and regrets. She wrote about realizing too late that what she had mistaken for passion with Jason was actually the thrill of forbidden attraction. She hinted at her unhappiness, her growing awareness of Jason's manipulative tendencies, and finally suggested meeting for coffee to talk about everything that happened. I read the email twice before composing a brief, polite response. I wished her well but declined the meeting, explaining that I had moved forward with my life and suggested she do the same. There was no anger in my reply, just finality. My parents too were beginning to see Jason more clearly. His financial requests had become demands. His charm had faded, revealing the entitlement beneath. When he borrowed my father's car and returned it with a dented fender offering neither apology nor offer to pay for repairs, something shifted in their perception. We were blind, my father admitted during one of our brunches. We saw what we wanted to see in him because it made us feel good to be his saviors. The final encounter with Jason came unexpectedly. He showed up at my new office building one afternoon looking disheveled and desperate. Security called up, and against my better judgment, I agreed to see him. He had lost weight, and the confident swagger was gone. He paced my office, explaining that Amanda had filed for divorce. His company was downsizing, and he needed a temporary loan to get back on his feet. "Your parents are suddenly being stingy," he complained. "After everything we have been through together, I thought you might understand what it is like to start over." I studied the man I had once considered a brother, feeling neither hatred nor satisfaction at his downfall, just a calm certainty about my own boundaries. "I do understand starting over, Jason. I had to do it after you took everything that mattered to me. The difference is, I did it without using people who trusted me. So that is it. Years of friendship mean nothing." His voice held a familiar, manipulative tone. "They meant everything to me," I replied evenly. "That is why your betrayal hurt so deeply. But I have built a good life now, one that does not include you. I will not help you, but I also will not stand in your way. We are simply finished." He left angry and empty-handed, but I felt an unexpected sense of closure. I had faced my betrayer not with rage or revenge, but with the strength of someone who had genuinely moved beyond the pain. The following month, my family gathered for my sister's college graduation. For the first time in over a year, we attended an event as a complete family unit without the shadow of Jason's presence. My mother took photos of Natalie, my father, and me, framing them immediately for the mantle to replace the wedding pictures that had finally been taken down. That evening, as we celebrated at Natalie's favorite restaurant, my mother raised her glass in a toast. To new beginnings, and to family, the real kind, built on love and loyalty. I looked around the table and felt the truth of her words. The painful journey had taught me invaluable lessons about self-worth, about the importance of boundaries, and about the difference between those who truly love you and those who simply use the word while serving their own interests. Nicole joined us for dessert, fitting seamlessly into the family dynamic. When she squeezed my hand under the table, I was reminded that sometimes the greatest losses clear the way for more authentic connections. The engagement ring in my pocket, waiting for our weekend getaway, was proof that life could come full circle in unexpected ways. Sometimes the people who betray you are giving you an opportunity to discover your true strength. In losing what I thought was everything, I found what really matters. I would love to hear about a time when a betrayal eventually led you to something better in your life. Share your story in the comments below. If this resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to hear more real-life experiences. And if you know someone struggling with family betrayal, share this video with them. Remember, your worth is never determined by those who fail to see it. Thank you for listening to my story, and I wish you the strength to create boundaries that protect your peace.